You're watching ABC7 News at 7.
John's trying to protect his school. He's trying to protect the kids. And in this day and age, and the heightened awareness that they had that day, how can it become a criminal charge?
A Brookside Middle School teacher placed on administrative leave for allegedly grabbing a student. But was he in the wrong? Good evening, everyone. I'm Alan Cohn, and welcome to ABC7 at 7. We'll have more on the case of John Russo in a moment. But first, our top 7 stories at 7. So you wanted a little rain for the lawn? Be careful what you wish for. It has been coming down all day. It will continue throughout the week. And now we are talking about the possibility of flooding. Let's head over to ABC7's Chief Meteorologist Bob Harrigan with the first alert forecast. Bob.
We already had flooding advisory in effect for Manatee County. That has since expired, but 3 inches in just less than an hour and a half did cause some heavy runoff, and that causes some minor street flooding. This is going to be a common occurrence, too, over the next 7 days, it looks like. We're not going to see all-day rain, and not everyone got the rainfall today. They got a little bit, but not much. But I think by the time it's all said and done, we are going to see everyone get at least a couple of inches out of this and a lot more in some isolated areas. What we have is an upper-level low spinning in the Gulf of Mexico, disassociated with the main flow, meaning that it's not going to move much. It's going to drift off to the west, north, and then back to the east over the next 5 days. And as it does so, it brings all this steady stream of moisture up from the tropics, because we're on the east side, which is the winds rotating around in a south direction, and that puts us right on into it. You can see that moisture trailing all the way down here into the Straits of Florida, just off of Key West and just off the western tip of Cuba. So lots going on, and keep the umbrellas handy. You may need a little extra driving time for your commute too, because roadways are going to be very slick, I think, over the upcoming days. And as far as we're concerned, the heavier rainfall that was around earlier has since moved on. We still have some showers to deal with, but there's some dry air out to the west of us, and that's the reason why you don't see a lot of clouds here around this area of low pressure. Tropical development, well, there's a slight chance for it to become a tropical depression or possibly storm. My feeling is that it won't, simply because the upper level winds are strong and the water temperatures are marginal at best. Water temperature has to be at least 80 degrees or above for a tropical system to develop. It's marginal. It's right there near 79. So we'll keep an eye on that for you. Right now, as I mentioned, rain continues to develop and push off to the north, but it is weakening. Well, much more later. Back to you, Alan.
Bob, thank you. Police are investigating the 4th shooting in Newtown this week, but still have not made any arrests. Investigators are trying to figure out if there is a link between the 4 shootings. They're gathering details about the victims, the guns used, location, and time frame. Sarasota Police Chief Bernadette DePino doesn't believe that the shootings were random.
It is concerning enough to us that we are jumping on it right away and taking it very seriously. And we want the community at large to feel safe and know that our officers are out there every day to keep them safe.
Sarasota police have responded to 12 shootings with injuries since the beginning of the year, 10 of those taking place in North Sarasota. An Englewood woman accused of killing her wife has been declared incompetent to stand trial. Jessica Winkler pleaded not guilty to second-degree murder. She was put on a suicide watch. She'll now be transferred to a mental treatment facility. If her condition improves, Winkler will be reevaluated to see if she can stand trial. Investigators are trying to find the person who mutilated 2 alligators in Mayaca City. We want to warn you, you may find these pictures disturbing. An ABC7 viewer sent us these photos of the remains. The tails of both gators have been cut off. A spokesperson for the Florida Fish and Wildlife Conservation Commission says the agency was contacted yesterday. They are asking anyone with information to contact the FWC. The Booker High School commencement ceremonies are this Thursday at the Van Wezel, and tickets are hotter than a Springsteen concert. Each Booker graduate has access to 5 tickets maximum, and there are only a little more than 1,700 seats left to accommodate the students and their families. Although there are some families scrambling for a few extra tickets. According to Principal Rachel Shelley, this venue was a choice made by her student body.
We reached out to the senior class and we asked them to help us find a viable solution. And it was the students that researched all the information on the Opera House in Van Wezel. The biggest thing is we knew if we went to Van Wezel that we would have to switch from a Saturday to a Thursday night, so they voted on that.
For family members without a ticket, they can have an option to go online on the school website and click a live stream to watch the ceremony. Gas prices in Florida are up another 10 cents over the past week, which is the highest they have been since November 2014. On average, drivers are now spending $2.82 a gallon, up nearly 50 cents in the past year. For the average consumer, it now costs $6 more to fill up the tank than it did last year.
U.S. supplies are down a little. U.S. demand is up, worldwide demand is up, so those factors are combining. Plus recent political events involving Iran could affect the future supply, so that's driven the price up.
Williams feels gas prices are still well below an amount where people will change or cancel travel plans instead of opting to spend less on other things like hotels and food. Starting this week, police across the U.S. are taking part in the Click It or Ticket campaign, including the Sarasota Police Department. According to the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, 48% of passenger vehicle occupants killed in crashes in 2016 weren't wearing seatbelts. The number rises to 56% from 6 p.m. until 6 a.m. A U.S. Supreme Court decision viewed as a major win for the gambling industry opens the door to sports betting in nearly 24 states, but Florida almost certainly won't be among them, at least for now. Today's decision found the federal ban on state-sanctioned sports betting as unconstitutional. But in Florida, two major obstacles, a ballot initiative and a special legislative session, stand in the way of joining states which have cleared the decks to allow gamblers to bet on professional and collegiate sports.
Sports gambling is going on in Florida right now. It's just being done illegally, or it's being done on cruises to nowhere. And that will continue. Unfortunately, there's no benefit directly to the state or to regulated businesses for that activity.
A proposed constitutional amendment on the November ballot will allow Florida voters to decide if they want to control decisions about gambling, something now largely left up to the legislature. And still to come, the case of the Sarasota teacher charged with battery for stopping a student the day after Parkland.
There was this big bruise on my friend's face. I didn't want to see it. I didn't want to think her own nephew could have hit her.
I didn't want to see it. My mother's bank account was emptied, and a caregiver had taken control of it.
I didn't want to see it. My father's refrigerator, there was hardly anything in it. That's unusual for him.
It's tough to see that a senior citizen is being abused, physically, emotionally, sexually, or financially. Elder abuse is a crime.
So see the signs. Stop the crimes.
Since 1972, Sleep King has provided quality mattresses and accessories at the best discounted prices available. Top brands like Simmons, Sealy, Serta, Beautyrest, iComfort, and more. With available free delivery, free financing, and free setup and removal. For a comfortable night's sleep with same-day delivery, even if we have to carry it on our backs. Trust Sleep King of Sarasota. Buy it today, sleep on it tonight.
This is an important message for anyone with Medicare. You may be eligible for an all-in-one Medicare plan that combines hospital, medical, and prescription drug coverage together with extra benefits that may include dental, vision, hearing aids, and much more. Some of these plans have a $0 monthly premium regardless of your income. That's right. For one low plan premium, or in some cases a $0 premium, you may be able to get coverage for your hospital visits, doctor appointments, prescription drugs, routine dental care, eyeglasses and contact lenses, hearing aids, and possibly more. Today may be the first time you've heard about this type of Medicare plan. The advisors at the Medicare.com helpline are licensed insurance agents who will explain more when you call. Call now to see if you qualify. Call the number on your screen now. Call now to see if you qualify for these benefits. You worked hard for your Medicare. Now is the time for your Medicare to work hard for you. Not affiliated with or acting on behalf of any government agency or program.
Planning a Carnival Fantasy Cruise out of Mobile? Then check out the park and cruise packages at the luxurious Battle House and Renaissance Riverview Plaza hotels. Stay at the Battle House for $169 per night, or the Riverview Plaza for just $149 per night, and leave your car for the duration of your cruise. Includes transportation to and from the cruise terminal. If you're cruising out of Mobile, come stay with us. Call 1-800-MARRIOTT or visit Marriott.com now.
Keep up with the Suncoast. Watch your favorite ABC7 shows on your streaming device.
You decide. It was the day after the Parkland massacre. Sarasota schools were on edge. A young man wearing a hoodie covering his face approaches the crowd at a track meet at Brookside Middle School. A teacher yells, "Stop!" They don't. A scuffle ensues, and now the teacher is under arrest. Adam Cellini joins us with more. Adam.
Alan, John Russo faces up to a year in prison if charged with battery. His story igniting a strong reaction from teachers, parents, and others in the community. Adam Niederauer has a hot new item at the Sarasota sign machine. Stickers that say, "I support John Russo."
I'm just following a couple little Facebook feeds, and people are like, "I need some, send some to Northport, send some here, we want to support John."
Niederauer and his son both attended Brookside Middle School, where John Russo has taught for 21 years, until he was recently placed on administrative duty and removed from the classroom in February.
I saw the opportunity, and I wanted to help, and I'm glad I did.
On February 15th, the day after the Parkland, Florida school shooting, Russo and Principal Matthew Gruhl were seen trying to detain a 14-year-old student. After watching security video, the school resource officer determined Russo engaged the student first, put him in a bear hug, and pushed him against the wall with no imminent threat. Enough for a first-degree battery charge. But the attorney for the union that represents Sarasota County teachers tells a different story.
It's very clear on video that the student is not listening to Mr. Russo.
Unfortunately, neither the school district, Sarasota Police, nor the state attorney's office will release that video during an active investigation. Russo's side of the story, however, was published on Facebook. He says it all started when he spotted someone walking towards a crowd of students wearing a hoodie, which were banned that day in direct response to the Parkland shooting.
That very day, to see a student who potentially posed a threat to the school, who was not responding to his request that he identify himself, who was not responding to his commands to remove the hood, that just exacerbated the situation.
Once identified, the student began swearing at Russo and tried to leave. In a panic, the teacher grabbed his arm so he couldn't walk away.
This student was not somebody who was, just out taking a walk. Appears to me at least, from watching the video, that he was sort of looking for trouble.
Both Russo and the officer say that student fought back, even hitting the principal multiple times. The boy's mother, who is pressing charges, has turned down multiple requests to comment on her son's behalf. We asked the Sarasota County School District why Russo is facing criminal charges when their handbook clearly states a teacher shall have the authority, while on duty, to come into physical contact with a student, to the degree necessary for the purpose of establishing or maintaining control of students, including to reasonably protect himself or herself. They also declined to comment.
This is really indicative of everything that's going on in our state and our country with, these talks of arming teachers to protect students. Here we have a teacher, an unarmed teacher, who merely, used hands to detain a student who was violating school board policy and who was potentially presenting a threat to other students.
A scenario not lost on several area teachers or local gym owner Aaron Jaco, who ordered a larger version of the bumper sticker to hang outside.
I was not there, but from what I understand, this teacher did the best he could and used his, his best judgment to make sure that all the other children at this school that day were going to be safe.
Now, Alan, the Sarasota County School District would not say if the student was punished, but they do say he is back in class. They also told us Mr. Russo has been reprimanded twice in the past for a verbal and physical confrontation with two different students. However, this is the first time there has been a criminal charge.
Adam, thank you. In a moment, the chair of the Sarasota School Board, the president of the Teachers Association, and an expert on school safety, all at the Trapezoid.
Hello, Mom.
Amanda's mom's appointment just got rescheduled for today. Amanda needs Right at Home. Our customized care plan provides as much or as little help as her mom requires, whether it's a ride to the doctor or help around the house.
Oh, of course. Tom, I am really sorry. I've got to go.
Look, call Right at Home. Get the right care right at home.
The following message is brought to you by Mesobook.com.
People who have been diagnosed with mesothelioma have many questions. How did I get this disease? What are my treatment options? How will this affect my loved ones? You need answers, which is why we offer a free book written by medical professionals who have treated mesothelioma.
Call toll-free at 1-800-777-1366 or go to mesobook.com.
My credit score was not that great.
I didn't understand what went into my credit score.
It was overwhelming.
Do you want to attain better credit health but don't know where to start? Credit Sesame can help by providing you a free credit score.
I love the app. It's so easy to use. It's like having your own financial coach.
Credit Sesame broke my credit score down into things that I understood, and it made me think I can do this.
And the awesome thing about Credit Sesame, it's free.
It's 100% free.
You don't need to go it alone. Get started today at creditsesame.com.
Hey kids, come learn baseball from the pros. The Bradenton Marauders are hosting Baseball Camp on June 5th, 6th, and 7th at Lecom Park. Boys and girls ages 6 to 14 will learn the fundamentals of hitting, pitching, and fielding from Marauders coaches and players at Lecom Park. Your camp fee includes a t-shirt, lunch daily, and 1 ticket to the Marauders games on these nights. To sign up, go to BradentonMarauders.com by May 14th. Sponsored by ABC7, your Suncoast News.
When ABC7 declares a first alert weather day, it means we can expect major changes to weather conditions here along the Suncoast.
It means there could be severe, potentially dangerous weather ahead.
We tell you when a first alert weather day is coming because we want you to be prepared.
A first alert weather day is an advance warning. We'll let you know about any changes in the weather when the first signs appear.
ABC7 First Alert Weather. We're here for you.
Welcome back. Tonight, the case of Sarasota Middle School teacher John Russo. He is the Brookside Middle School teacher charged with battery for allegedly pushing a student against a wall. The incident taking place the day after Parkland, where 17 students died. Russo was working an after-school track meet when the student approached the field wearing a hoodie. Russo repeatedly asked the student to stop and identify himself. When they refused, a scuffle took place. The incident was caught on video, which has not been made public. Social media is alive with comments and opinions. Was John Russo doing his job, or did he overreact? We don't know. And joining us for more are Bridget Ziegler, the chair of the Sarasota School Board, Pat Gardner, the president of the Sarasota Teachers Association, Kurt Lavarello, executive director of the School Safety Advocacy Council, and joining us by Skype is former Sarasota School Administrator Paul Gallagher. Thank you all for joining us, and we are all at a disadvantage here because we have not seen the video ourselves, and so all we could read is what the authorities are saying and what Mr. Russo is saying. But Bridget, I'll start with you. Just taking us back to that terrible day, the day after Parkland, we are all on edge. Students were told as a matter of policy, don't show up in hoodies because of the sensitivity of concern about somebody else doing something crazy. And it would seem from a big picture point of view that teachers, you know, are told that, you know, keep an eye out, see something, do something.
Oh, well, absolutely. I mean, I think, again, I know we've said this beforehand, specifically to talk about this incident, there's no details that we can because it's under investigation, but post-Parkland and even beyond, especially a day after it, I mean, the sensitivity is definitely there. I think as we go forward and look at school safety and security, I say this a lot, but we all play a role. We need to work together, communicate. There has to be a balance where rules are followed, but you also want to make sure that from an authority standpoint, there's a balance there as well. So,
and Pat, teachers are in a difficult position because you want to ensure to the best that you can safety. On the other hand, there are often conflicts between students and teachers, and teachers, and I know a lot of them, they live in a situation where they could be accused of anything at any time.
Well, I think too, right after that shooting, you had a big worry about copycat shooters coming onto campuses too, so everybody was on edge. But our teachers have been told you don't touch children unless absolutely necessary, other than protecting students. And it seems to me at that point especially, somebody was worried about protecting students. And Mr. Russo, I mean, I can't imagine what else he was thinking other than if this person isn't identifying himself, does he have something? hidden somewhere? Are their kids going to be hurt? And he certainly didn't do anything to protect himself.
And Kurt, this is the essential dilemma that our public schools are facing right now in the aftermath of Parkland and all the other school shootings beforehand in terms of what to do in situations like this.
Absolutely. And, you know, right after Parkland and these other incidents, you know, things changed. People, staff members, students, everybody's adrenaline's up. People are fearful in their schools and across this country and here locally. We had probably over 1,000 threats just in Florida alone that law enforcement were investigating in schools the following day and in the following week. So, you know, from the onset of this thing, you look at this thing, and that's what you would want a teacher to do, to engage a situation that could be another threat.
And Paul, you have been an administrator in our local schools. What did you used to tell teachers in terms of what to do when they have a student that may be threatening in some manner?
Well, I think, Alan, in this, first of all, I'd like to say that I feel badly for the pain and for the worry that the teacher is feeling, and also any that the family is feeling. It's a terrible situation. But what I used to tell teachers, and they would tell me in return, would work on it together, what's really happening here? What is happening in education? What is the social and emotional issues? What are the issues of inclusion and diversity? This is not an isolated incident in education. And there are big boy, big girl issues that need to be looked at because of this symptom that was shown to us. And I trust that the school board, and I know the teachers union will, and I know the school leadership will seize this opportunity to take a look at what are the stressors that are coming out here, what are the issues in terms of how kids are coming to us and what they need, and how can we address it educationally in 2018.
Okay, we are just getting warmed up, and we'll have much more on the case of John Russo right after we check the First Alert weather. Stay with us.
Did you know you could get life insurance for less than 32 cents a day? With guaranteed acceptance whole life insurance through TruStage, you can get up to $25,000 in protection with a single phone call. TruStage can help free your family from immediate financial stress when you're gone.
Utility bills, mortgages, car payments, those are a lot of things that can add up pretty fast.
And even if you're on a fixed income, prices fit your budget, starting at less than 32 cents a day. Plus, your price will never increase and your benefit will never decrease. And with no medical tests or health questions, you cannot be turned down for any reason. Call 1-800-842-7189. Now, for a free, no-obligation quote, TruStage offers plans to fit your budget. Help protect your family from immediate financial burdens after you're gone with guaranteed acceptance whole life insurance through TruStage. Call 1-800-842-7189 now.
Thank you.
You are the best protection she has. Buddy up. I'm Jill Harrington. Please visit helpsavethenextgirl.com and get involved.
Meet Blue. Blue's not feeling well. The prescription? Generic medication. Blue wonders, do they really work as well as name brands? Yes, generics and name brand medications do work the same. Even though they may look different, generics have the same key ingredients. FDA approval is equally rigorous for generics to make sure they're as safe and effective as name brands. And Blue even saves some green, making him a little less, well, blue. Talk to your doctor about generics and visit fda.gov/generic drugs.
Everybody can make something, because I think everyone has a spark of creativity, and the reason that I have to keep making is because I don't think my life would be as fulfilling without it. If you make things yourself, that means you're not cowering in fear. You're out there taking chances. That, I think, is my way of saying I love you to the world. All right, now I want to hear why you make.
Share your own Why I Make story today. Visit whyimake.org.
Now, your ABC7 First Alert weather forecast with Chief Meteorologist Bob Harrigan.
Well, keep the umbrellas handy, allow for some extra drive time, and be advised and make sure that you have your ABC7 weather app because it's going to be used, I think, very much so by everyone here along the west coast of Florida for the upcoming week and into the weekend possibly. A large area of low pressure in the upper levels of the atmosphere. That's a good thing, is that it's in the upper levels, so it doesn't appear that it's going to develop into a tropical depression or a tropical storm. There's a slight chance of that happening, but it's going to be staying around in the eastern Gulf of Mexico for, as I said, the next week or so. And that's the bad thing, because it's going to continue to pump moisture our way. We could see most everyone getting at least 2 to 4 inches of rainfall, even more in some isolated areas through Friday. We'll have periods of heavy rain at times. These are the tropical downpours, which limits visibility and causes treacherous driving conditions. So keep that in mind. You'll be seeing that throughout the week occasionally. And the heaviest rain looks like by far coming in the afternoon and evening when the most energy is around, but we could still see some pretty heavy showers overnight. Now, a 30% chance of this low developing into something tropical, as I mentioned, so it's not very high, and it's actually been going down, which is a good thing. And looks like the upper level winds are too strong. On top of that, the water temperature is marginal here over the eastern Gulf of Mexico for tropical development. And you can see by this radar loop, all this moisture kind of pinwheeling around, especially to the right of the low pressure area. And you'll notice not much going on here. Obviously, it's far away from the radar. But even looking from the radars over the Gulf Coast states, not much showing up there. That's due to some dry air that's in place right now. And that dry air is entraining somewhat on the back end of it, and that may limit the activity overnight. So our chances for rain overnight are still there. We're still going to see showers punching out every once in a while and moving onshore, but not nearly the intensity that we saw earlier with some of the rain in Manatee County when we had rainfall rates up to 2 inches an hour, which is tropical. And you can see this little bullseye right there. Just along I-75 near State Road 70 near Parrish. Parrish had some very heavy rainfall there. Also, looks like a tremendous amount of rainfall in East Manatee County, where there were advisories in effect earlier today due to the potential for flooding there. But elsewhere along the coast, not as much rainfall, but that is going to change as we're going to continue to see moisture pumped up from the tropics right into Florida. I mentioned that dry air. It's still in place to the west of us right now. The actual low pressure here kind of grabbing some of that dry air once in a while and rotating around the center. So that's another reason why we don't think this thing is going to develop into anything significant as far as the tropical system goes. But nonetheless, with it staying there, the computer forecast models still suggest there it is kind of rotating around to the west of us, and all this moisture staying in place through Tuesday, through Wednesday. Here's Thursday now. Still getting a good chance for showers and storms scattered about, with the deep greens and darker greens showing up in the afternoon and evening. This takes you through Friday and Saturday, and notice even into Sunday. So you get the picture. Even though you're not going to get total rain constantly all day, you will see periods of showers and storms scattered about for the upcoming days. And guess what? I saw this last week, but I didn't want to show it, but there's another closed low developing in the Western Caribbean right there on Thursday. Now, this isn't this Thursday, that's next Thursday. And this, too, long-range forecast shows it moving northward. So it's going to stay wet, it looks like, for the upcoming 2 weeks, possibly. Scattered storms out on the waters for tomorrow. Look for that. The winds and seas will be higher near those storms. Outside of those, south winds at 15 knots, seas running 2 to 3 feet with a moderate chop. And there's the rain chances. They stay high and elevated all the way through the next 7 days. Low temperatures will be in the low to mid 80s. Alan will be right back after this. Stick around.
If you're only hungry for a slice of apple pie, why buy the whole pie? And you certainly wouldn't want to pay for an all-you-can-eat buffet. So if you don't use your cell phone that much, why get charged for a plan that's too big, or even an unlimited plan? Luckily, there's still a wireless company that shares your values. Welcome to Consumer Cellular. Our average customer pays about $25 a month for everything they need. Many pay even less, as plans start at just $15 a month. You'll get a straightforward bill that's easy to understand, with no surprises, and all the attention you deserve from our friendly customer service team. No wonder Consumer Cellular has received the J.D. Power Award for highest customer service 4 times in a row. Plus, if you're an AARP member, you'll receive special discounts. It's easy to switch. You can even keep your phone and your number. So stop paying for more than you need and start your 30-day risk-free trial today. Call 800-457-2317. Go online or visit a Target store today.
At Boys and Girls Clubs, it's not just about trying new things.
Tanya, come here.
Learning the right steps.
2, 3, 4.
Or making contact. It's not just about exploring the future. It's about helping them build it. It's about making a connection. It's about proving every kid and teen who enters our doors has what it takes. Great futures start here.
My credit score was not that great.
I didn't understand what went into my credit score.
It was overwhelming.
Do you want to attain better credit health but don't know where to start? Credit Sesame can help by providing you a free credit score.
I love the app. It's so easy to use. It's like having your own financial coach.
Credit Sesame broke my credit score down into things that I understood, and it made me think, I can do this.
And the awesome thing about Credit Sesame, it's free.
It's 100% free.
You don't need to go it alone. Get started today at creditsesame.com.
We answered the call of duty and left our homes to serve in far-off lands. Now, we answer another call, this time at home, in our own communities, to respond in times of chaos, to use our strength, our skills, and our experiences to bring hope amid devastation and destruction. Together, as a team of brothers and sisters, we're continuing our mission to make this country a little stronger and a little better each day. We are Team Rubicon.
Welcome back. We are talking about the case of John Russo, the Sarasota school teacher charged with battery for confronting a student the day after Parkland. And joining us for more are Bridget Ziegler, the chair of the Sarasota School Board, Pat Gardner, president of the Sarasota Teachers Association, Kurt Lavarello, executive director of the School Safety Advocacy Council, and joining us by Skype is former Sarasota school administrator Paul Gallagher. And Kurt, let me start with you because this is your profession. And I know you're limited because you have not seen the video yourself, but what is the difficulty for a law enforcement officer when investigating a case like this?
Well, you always have to be cognizant, too, of the Florida state statutes contain a victim's right portion of that. So victims in the state of Florida have specific rights, and there's also certain mandates that law enforcement agencies have, the duty to investigate, the duty to bring charges if they feel something like, a criminal act has been done. But you have to factor in that, again, this is right after Parkland, and we have a young man walking onto a campus wearing a hoodie. I think that day it was about 87 degrees. It was a warm day. He's covering his face. He's not showing his hands. So naturally, this is what I would instruct teachers to do, be very, very cognizant of this type of behavior. I train teachers all over the country, and I would want them to look out for exactly what this young man was doing at the time.
But supposedly the videotape, as you said, does not have audio, so you're relying on witnesses saying what happened.
Right, and it's very hard to measure imminent threat in the absence of audio, because you don't know what this young man is communicating to the teacher at that time. That audio portion plays a very important role in determining the threat that was felt or could have been felt by the teacher or the principal afterwards.
Pat, the Teachers Association would be defending and helping a teacher in this situation get legal representation, but you have a community out there which is offering their thoughts and their viewpoints online everywhere, and what are people saying to you, from different perspectives?
I only know what teachers are saying to me, which is, do I have to worry every time I try to protect students that I'm going to be arrested for something? Because I guess the choice was, if Mr. Russo didn't do that and he went, oh, we'll let him go, and the kid walked upstairs and shot 10 people, is Mr. Russo going to jail for that? I mean, I think teachers are saying right now, I'm damned if I do and I'm damned if I don't. What do you want me to do? You tell me to protect kids. This teacher protected kids, and now he's arrested.
Paul, from the administrator's point of view, how has this changed over time? Maybe if you're looking back years where school shootings did not take place as often as they seem to right now, in terms of how administrators would try to tell teachers how to deal with a student who may be unruly or threatening in some manner?
Yeah, thanks, Alan. I think education has gotten more complicated and complex, and what we're supposed to do in formal schooling has gotten a little convoluted. It's unfair to teachers because, as Pat just suggested, what is one supposed to prioritize? The stress they have is just really unbelievable. Kids come to us in such need, in such want, and not always communicating it proper way. And this is happening all over the country. I'm here in Los Angeles working with a school district that is looking to make social and emotional learning, which helps teachers stress, organic, with the community getting together and figuring out initiatives and policies that can be modernized so that school is a safe, joyful place for everyone.
Bridget, we are asking our teachers and administrators to do things a lot different than they used to, where, you know, theoretically the role here is to educate. But, you know, school boards, school districts are in a situation where, you know, what a teacher does and says can be, you know, the difference between life and death. So from a policy standpoint, what do you and your colleagues are, you know, trying to pass along to school administrators in terms of how to handle situations like this?
And I think it's a great point, and I think that there's a lot of elements that were said previously, is that now we're seeing that the schools have and teachers have a number of different things far beyond just educating our students that they're dealing with every single day. And we get into this difficult challenge where that's their area of expertise, but they're supposed to be able to be knowledgeable how to de-escalate a situation or various mental health preventative care components. So I think as a policymaker, our job is to work and facilitate supportive services within our agencies so the educators can be educators and that they have that support so that that they can be successful.
And this particular case is happening at a point of time when the school district is coming up with its own police department, and they're not, you know, their responsibilities are going to be pretty wide-ranging in terms of investigating also cases like this with a whole new staff of people.
That's indeed correct. I think there's a lot of different, there's a lot of elements and buckets that need to be addressed so we can better understand what the district, if the continuation of the internal school police force moves forward, what we would be responsible for, what we'd be partnering with our law enforcement agencies. But it raises a very valid question of the complications that exist with this topic.
Kurt, do situations like this happen often in terms of school districts not knowing exactly what to do? You have something that obviously happened. You have probably unhappy parents out there, but you also have a political environment where you want teachers to protect the student population in general.
Yeah, the scenario that played out here is not that uncommon around the country. I think what changes the complexity of this particular case is the timing of it right after a major incident, when we see everybody's anxiety level across the country rise to a level that we typically don't see day in and day out of the school. So the kid who may walk onto a campus on a day that doesn't follow that may not get as much attention as this particular case did, because it's following a massacre that occurred in Florida not too far from this particular school.
You know, Pat, if you're talking about law enforcement, we keep on hearing these anecdotal stories in terms of police with all the attention on shootings around the country. Some police officers saying, you know what, I am going to approach situations differently than I used to because I don't want to be one of those cops who is charged with something. Are you concerned that your teachers are in a similar situation, that something like this happens and they may look the other way because they don't want to get dragged into this like John Russo did?
Well, we've been in that situation for quite a while because our organization has been telling them, don't touch, don't touch, don't touch. And truthfully, I think it's sad because teachers used to hug kids all the time, and now they don't want to hug kids because something's going to happen. But this sort of thing, I mean, we also tell them, but you protect children. And it's still hard to understand. I'm not supposed to touch kids, but I have to protect children. Teachers will still protect children no matter what if they think something's happening. But to blame a teacher for actually doing what he thinks is right to protect other children, I have a problem with all of this. I really do.
But Paul, there are situations where teachers overreact, and that's what one of the questions are that's before us right now. We don't know exactly what happened here, but things do happen from time to time that shouldn't happen.
This is true in every profession. This is true, I think, with all of us. And you also just gave us the context of post-Parkland. So I'm not saying it's understandable, but the agenda was there for something to happen, and it's not okay, but it's not out of the ordinary. Again, what's presented to us is now what is the work that school leadership, under the auspices of the school board, with help of the community, is going to do about making schools safer, and I don't mean just safety in terms of police protection, and I mean that respectfully. I mean as a safe place to go and be cared for, to learn, and to be successful.
So, Bridget, what does the school board do in terms of a policy situation? You saw in Adam's story that there's some specific language that empowers teachers to make physical contact under certain circumstances. Is the board looking at not just this situation, but in general, to make it even more clear in terms of what situations teachers can act or not?
Well, and I think that going granular on that, I think it goes more to the cultural aspect, because there is absolutely a responsibility for the district and the employees to keep our students safe. That's what parents, that's what they expect when they drop their children off. So a professional educator or any employee of the district should be empowered to do so within those means. And so that's where we get this slippery slope, because it's an innate response to protect those who are around you from a threat. So by way of actual policy changes, I don't know that we'll see that expand. I think reactionary policy is dangerous, but I think there's definitely a cultural element we have to address.
We have to take a quick break, and we'll be back for final thoughts in a moment. Stay with us.
The following message is brought to you by Mesobook.com.
People who have been diagnosed with mesothelioma have many questions. How did I get this disease? What are my treatment options? How will this affect my loved ones? You need answers, which is why we offer a free book written by medical professionals who have treated mesothelioma.
Call toll-free at 1-800-777-1366 or go to Mesobook.com.
I just need a second.
Is your weight holding you back and affecting your health?
Did you see this? Your cousin had a heart attack.
Really?
Excess weight or obesity can be serious, but you can do something about it. Visit yourweightmatters.org. Download the free toolkit to prepare you to speak with a healthcare provider. Your weight does matter. Accept the challenge and take charge today. Visit yourweightmatters.org.
Here's something we bet you didn't know. Nearly half of all cancers can be prevented. That's right, half. Nearly 50%, mostly by making small everyday changes in your diet and controlling your weight, walking more, eating less, and eating foods that help you and your family to seriously reduce the risk of cancer. And of course, by not smoking. Visit the Cancer Prevention Together We Can website and get a free 30-day planner filled with tips, recipes, stats, and more about protecting your family. Go to prevent50.org.
When my youngest, Addie, was 2.5, she was diagnosed with leukemia. When we first heard that diagnosis, you feel extremely alone. Walking in that Light the Night light with 6,000 people carrying lights, white for survivors, red for supporters, gold in memory of those who have passed. It's the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society's hope that every year there are fewer gold lanterns. Your lantern will make a difference.
Start a team, join a team.
Help us light the night.
Check out My Suncoast Dining on mysuncoast.com, your guide to the foodie lifestyle. ABC7's own Chef Judy serves up her favorite recipes, cooking tips and trends, dining blogs, step-by-step videos, and Suncoast Restaurant Guide. You'll find it all at mysuncoast.com/dining.
And our guests join us right now for final thoughts. And Paul, I'll start with you. What do you want people to take away from this conversation tonight?
This is not an unusual situation, and Sarasota can show its specialness by having some tough conversation and making this a positive thing, new programs and ways of supporting teachers and students.
All right, and Kurt, you know, there's one thing that we have not talked about tonight, and that's the responsibility of our students.
Absolutely, and I think it's important when we look at these after impact incidents that occur. You know, there's got to be some ownership on this young man and all young people. They have a responsibility too, and so when he's being told to do something and follow directions, they have an obligation to do that too as part of the equation.
Pat, how would you sum up how your teachers are feeling right now about this case?
I want them to feel like they can protect students without the fear of being arrested, and I'm afraid that's probably not how they feel right now.
And Bridget, you know, if you look at social media, as I mentioned, there's a lot of support for John Russo out there, but I would imagine that the school board is in a pretty delicate situation.
Well, I think just the topic of safety and security is obviously on the priority and the top of mind of everyone, as it should be. But we need to, I think everyone made a very good point. We all need to work together. There has to be accountability. I'm not speaking specifically to this case, but in general, we all play a role. We have to work together. That's the only way to change this culture.
All right, I'll have to leave it there. Before we go, we want to share with you what some of you had to say about Friday's show on the week in Washington. It was a busy week for the White House. President Trump announced the United States was pulling out of the Iran nuclear deal. The president also announced he would be meeting with Kim Jong-un on June 12th. We went to Facebook for your thoughts, and Carol says President Trump is doing everything in his power with little or to no help from our inept Congress to make America great again, and I support his efforts 100%. But George says he seems to get along well with fascist dictators, but alienates our democratically elected allies. Well, if you'd like to join the conversation about tonight's topic, just visit our Facebook page at facebook.com/mysuncoast.com.abc7. And FYI, you can watch past discussions on demand. They're available on Apple TV, Amazon Fire, and Roku. We want to thank our guests for being here tonight. Bridget Ziegler is the chair of the Sarasota School Board. Pat Gardner is the president of the Sarasota Teachers Association. Kurt Lavarello is the executive director of the School Safety Advocacy Council. And joining us by Skype is former Sarasota School Administrator Paul Gallagher. When we return, we'll have a final look at your First Alert weather. Plus, the U.S. Embassy is moving to Jerusalem today. How is the move being received?
Since 2004, Embracing Our Differences has used the power of art and education to promote diversity. One way it accomplishes this is through its annual outdoor exhibition of 45 billboard-sized works of art, each accompanied by an inspirational quote. Join us in creating a community that is inclusive for all, where differences are embraced and individuality is celebrated. We invite you to celebrate the voices and visions of diversity and inclusion at this year's exhibit at Sarasota's Island Park.
Are you a food lover, restaurant goer, or home cook? Then check out My Suncoast Dining on mysuncoast.com, your guide to the foodie lifestyle. ABC7's own Chef Judy serves up her favorite recipes, cooking tips and trends, dining blogs, and helpful step-by-step videos. And you'll love the restaurant guide with direct links to your favorite Suncoast eateries. Whether you're cooking in or dining out, whet your appetite with tasty tips from Chef Judy at mysuncoast.com/dining.
I'm Anne. I'm a scientist.
Recycling takes a team.
Why don't you let me and me help you out?
Everyone plays a part. Don't trash
I love taking stuff apart and building new things out of it.
what could be treasure.
Pal's my most advanced android. This is awesome. You haven't seen anything yet.
Give your cardboard box another life. Recycle.
Want the latest weather and traffic conditions wherever you go? Introducing ABC7's revolutionary new First Alert weather app. With our state-of-the-art new weather app, you get up-to-the-minute weather alerts, interactive radar maps, current conditions, 10-day forecasts, real-time traffic maps, and weather video from ABC7, all at your fingertips. And it's free. Just search Suncoast WX in the App Store and download onto all your devices today. Sponsored by Mr. Sparky. Now, your ABC7 First Alert weather forecast with Chief Meteorologist Bob Harrigan.
Here it goes. The start of tropical season early? Well, there's a slight chance we may see something tropical pop up, but that chance is lowering. It was at 40% earlier today in the next 5 days. Now that's down to 30%. There appears to be a low right here spinning in the lower levels of the atmosphere, but basically we have an upper level low in place that's drawing moisture up from the tropics and really putting it right on into Florida, and that's going to continue, looks like, over the upcoming days. As a result of that low, our rain chances will stay elevated right through all of this work week and into the weekend, as it's not expected to do much. It's going to meander, go west, go east, go north a little bit, and then drop south. So this one is not going to move much. It's a cutoff low, indicating that it's not associated with the main flow of the jet stream, so there's nothing to push it around, and that's going to be the case. The heaviest storms by far along the east coast, but we've had our fair share here. Earlier today, up to 3 inches estimated near Parrish and a little bullseye all the way down toward Waterleaf. This moisture all kind of streaming in our direction. although there's a little reprieve, I think, tonight as some dry air has slipped in on the back side of it. It will moisten up again tomorrow, especially in the afternoon and evening, when we'll have a little bit more heat of the day and energy to work with to create a little bit more lift to the storms. There's that little bullseye I mentioned of the heavier rain estimates, up to 3 inches there. But everyone got some rainfall over the past 12 hours, and we're going to get a lot more, too, it looks like, as the bigger picture, the infrared satellite imagery showing the dry air out here. You can see that upper level low spinning right there. It's a rather large, broad area of low pressure in the upper levels of the atmosphere, but most of the weather is to the right of it. And that's simply because that's where the moisture is drawing up from the tropics and puts Florida right in its way, as it will pinwheel around this area of low pressure over the upcoming days as it drifts just slowly off basically to the north and east over the upcoming 48 hours. There's that dry air I mentioned. It's all out here in the western Gulf of Mexico. And once in a while you see a little loop or a lobe kind of work its way in and dry things out just a little bit temporarily. So we'll look for periods of showers and a few isolated thunderstorms on Tuesday, with then again a lot of clouds around each and every day. This is a future cast showing this area of low kind of moving off to the west at times and then just sitting there. And notice these bands, they continue to move on in across west central Florida. And as we take you through time, this is 8:30 on Tuesday morning, and then it kind of spins, works its way back toward the east. I mentioned it's going to be just drifting around out there in the eastern Gulf of Mexico. With the water temperatures marginal, we do not expect it to become anything significant as far as a tropical depression or a tropical storm goes, but that chance is still there. I suspect it will be lowering. Our winds are not all that strong, and they're not going to be either, I don't think. We'll see 10 to 15 mile-an-hour winds, maybe a little stronger near the isolated lines of showers that move in, but again, 13 out of the south and southeast, that's bringing and drawing that tropical moisture our way. Cloudy right now. It's cooler as a result of the rain cool there. It's 73 at the Sarasota-Bradenton Airport, and the pressure has been lowering to 9.90 inches. At the airport, just a third of an inch. And so far, we are looking at a lot more expected over the upcoming days, 2 to 4 possible in some areas. Now, here's the forecast then for boaters tomorrow. Outside of the storms, you'll see winds out of the south at 15 knots and seas running 2 to 3 feet with a moderate chop on the bays and inland waters. The forecast calling for elevated chances of showers and storms right through the next 7 days, with high temperatures a little bit below average because of the increased cloud cover and the heavy rain that could be around occasionally over the next 7. Al will be back with this guy.
I heard about the Dotoli Cancer Center through friends of mine who had been treated here and were very pleased with the treatment.
If there is prostate cancer, we at the Dotoli Cancer Center will find it using 3D color flow Doppler ultrasound.
And that helped precisely identify where my cancer was. I can tell you that you will not find a finer, more professional team of clinicians anywhere in the world.
Since 1972, Sleep King has provided quality mattresses and accessories at the best discounted prices available. Top brands like Simmons, Sealy, Serta, Beautyrest, iComfort, and more. With available free delivery, free financing, and free setup and removal. For a comfortable night's sleep with same-day delivery, even if we have to carry it on our backs. Trust Sleep King of Sarasota. Buy it today, sleep on it tonight.
My credit score was not that great.
I didn't understand what went into my credit score.
It was overwhelming.
Do you want to attain better credit health but don't know where to start? Credit Sesame can help by providing you a free credit score.
I love the app. It's so easy to use. It's like having your own financial coach.
Credit Sesame broke my credit score down into things that I understood, and it made me think I can do this.
And the awesome thing about Credit Sesame, it's free.
It's 100% free.
You don't need to go it alone. Get started today at creditsesame.com.
If you're looking for the perfect trip that allows you to spend quality time with a family, then discover the great outdoors on an Alabama Black Belt adventure. Create unforgettable memories while hunting, fishing, or biking and hiking. Or play the Robert Trent Jones Golf Trail, now celebrating 25 years. And while you're here, enjoy the flavors of the Black Belt. Book your adventure at our lodges or stay in the Renaissance Montgomery Hotel and Spa. Start planning an Alabama Black Belt adventure today.
WWSB ABC7 is an equal opportunity employer, and we're looking for qualified people to join our dynamic team. For a list of current openings and to apply online, Visit www.mysuncoast.com/contact/employment. If you're a motivated team player and you want a rewarding career in a fun, fast-paced working environment, WWSB ABC7 could be the perfect fit for you. Check out our list of openings now.
Checking primetime headlines, the United States formally moved its embassy from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem today. Meanwhile, along the border between Israel and Gaza, dozens of protesters have been killed. Omar Jimenez has the very latest from Washington.
Today we officially opened the United States Embassy in Jerusalem.
President Trump appearing by video and to applause as the United States Embassy in Israel moves from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem. It's a decision Trump announced back in December when he formally recognized the city as the capital of Israel.
President Trump, by recognizing history, you have made history.
But it's a history that has two sides. The Palestinians hope to claim part of the city as their future capital. And while it's celebration on one side, miles away, it's a very different story. Protests at the Gaza border met with deadly force. More than 50 Palestinians have been killed.
Today we gather here to say no. No to Trump, no to the people who went to celebrate the moving of the American embassy.
And at the United Nations, Palestinian officials urging the Security Council to intervene.
This is the life of the Palestinian people, and those who think that opening the embassy open doors to peace, let them look at what is really happening in the Gaza Strip.
In the midst of thousands of Palestinian injuries, the Israeli Deputy Minister of Diplomacy calls it simply a play for media attention.
The protests there are designed not to bring about peace. They are expressly designed to destroy the Jewish state, to break through our border, to kill Israelis.
As for the embassy in Jerusalem, it will be out of a temporary facility for now. The process of building a new permanent embassy is expected to take years. In Washington, I'm Omar Jimenez.
First Lady Melania Trump is recovering from kidney surgery. Her office says she had been experiencing an issue with her kidney that was described as benign. She is expected to remain at Walter Reed for several days after today's procedure. She is the first U.S. First Lady to undergo such a serious medical procedure while in the White House since Nancy Reagan had a mastectomy in October 1987. Former Senate Majority Leader Harry Reid is recovering after surgery for pancreatic cancer. His family says a tumor was removed from his pancreas in Maryland and that he is in good spirits and resting. Reid, who was first elected to the Senate in 1986, retired at the end of his term in early 2017 when he was Senate Minority Leader. And Hollywood is mourning the death of Lois Lane, actress Margot Kidder. Kidder is probably best known for playing Lois Lane in the 1978 movie Superman with Christopher Reeve, including the 3 sequels. Her manager says she died peacefully in her sleep Sunday at her Montana home. Kidder also starred in Amityville Horror and worked steadily in television and on stage. Margot Kidder was 69 years old. And that's all the time we have for this evening. I'm Alan Cohn. Thanks for joining us. Have a good night.